So here's the next radio we're going to do. This is a lamp radio. Here's the dial. And I've always wanted one of these. Made by a company called Mitchell, about 1941 or so. They're pretty collectible. It's kind of a rocket ship shape. Really cool design. You can see the bulb up there. Plastic shade. It's filthy. It's sticky. Yuck. And I can tell someone's been in here recently with this modern cord that's been put on it. So, yes, Mitchell. Mitchell made a handful of radios in the 40s, 50s. Let's see, there was one other. Let me see, I've got one right here. This is a bed lamp radio. It's got these hooks on it. Just hang on your headboard like that. You've got a lamp to read by, and it's missing the knobs, but it's got it's a radio. It's called the Lullaby, and this is called the Lumitone. A lot of collectors don't like novelty radios, but I happen to love them. This is just so cool. And this is the original shade on here now. Originally, there was a couple different types of shades. There was the normal, the most popular fabric shade where it came down and kind of went out like that. Or this straight up plastic shade, but most of these got broken and thrown away because they're very fragile. And this one is no different. It's got a crack right there and cracked right here, but hey, it's still usable, and you could fix that if you wanted to. But these, it's very rare to find one of these with that plastic shade still intact. God, there's a lot of dust in there. I found this on Facebook Marketplace for 20 bucks. I said, why not? I couldn't pass it up at that price. Guy said it was his grandmother's, so. Anyhow, I've never done one of these before. Let's see if we can just figure out how to take it apart. And then we'll go from there. Okay, it looks like we've got one screw head right here. And that's the only thing I see that's exposed. So let's, I guess, start there. I used to have some feet on it or something. Okay, so this looks like it pulls straight off. And there's that. Lots of dust. That's a big cast iron weight in there. I guess to keep the lamp from falling over. Looks like it's pretty top heavy. Now there's 4 screws around here. I'm going to take them off next. Flip it over here. Take that knob off. That's the original knob too. I know those are hard to find. So we're very lucky to have all the pieces here. Okay, this pops up. I might have to take the socket off here. Let me loosen this up. Okay, there we go. We've got our tube locations. Radio Corp of America. Golly, that smells like cigarette smoke. Wow, look at all that dust in here. Holy crap. Yuck. Wow. Well, it looks rather easy to fix in a 5-tube set. Series string, all-American 5 tubes. Interesting. Okay, I see some screws right here too. Looks like there's 4 of them. I'm going to take those out next. I can't get that one out for this one. I think that's it. This should lift up out of here. Well, we've got the lamp socket connected. Let me see. Looks like it just pops up. Try to loosen this nut on the bottom here. And there we go. Easy to service. Very easy to service. Okay. Get that out of the way. That looks like it'll come off now. It's heavy. And there we are. That's not too hard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 paper caps. Here's our electrolytic. We've got 2 sections in it. What does it say here? Okay, 30. They're both 30s. 30 at 150. That's no problem. It's got the dog bone resistors on it. Audio output transformer, speaker, tuner, IF can. There's one on top, and that's probably the other one. And there's the capacitor to align it. Probably oscillator coil, volume control. Okay, here's the cord. You can see how they did that. There's our screw. Well, honestly, not too bad. They used heat shrink tubing. I'm impressed with that. I've seen some pretty shoddy repairs in this stuff. Normally with wire nuts or electrical tape, but they actually soldered it and used shrink tubing on it. I'm impressed. I'm impressed. Okay, well, I think for just the fun of it, let's go ahead and plug it in and just see what it does. The guy said he plugged it in and it just hummed. So I know it's been plugged in before, so there's not a lot of harm into it. Okay, I got it on the variac here. Let's turn it on. Okay, we see our bulb lit. I'll bring it up. Okay, there's full voltage. Let's wait for it to warm up now. Here's our loop antenna. Okay, I can hear it coming. Hey, it works. Kind of. That's all I'm getting. That's all I'm getting. That's the volume control wide open, all the way up. Okay. Not very good. Of course, what do you expect from a 7-year-old radio? Actually, 80. 80, it's damn close to being 80 years old. Okay, so the first step in reviving this radio would be to replace these paper capacitors and the electrolytics. And then from there, we can test it again and see if it works. And then if it doesn't, we can just start troubleshooting from there. But no use troubleshooting it right now because you're just wasting your time with these caps in here. Okay, I got my trusty needle nose pliers and side cutters here. So we're ready to go. With these tools, I've probably fixed over 200 radios. Okay. It doesn't matter where you start. A lot of the time I'll start with the electrolytic. This time I think I'll just start in this corner and work my way over. Go ahead and cut the lead off close to the body. Okay, it's the 004 at 400. Okay, I don't know if I have a 004. It's not that critical in an AM radio like this. It's not critical at all. In a television, yes, it would. But I've got a 005 right here, and I guarantee it'll work just fine. The tolerances in this old tube stuff are so wide. That's why I've got all these adjustments. All these adjustments to take up for those wide tolerances and off-value parts. Okay, now I know most of the people watching this have seen me do this before, or at least they know how to solder. But for the newbies that are watching this and that are watching this to learn how to solder, I'm going to show the entire process and narrate it as well. So if you know how to solder and you don't want to watch this, just skip ahead in the video. But I'm going to go through the whole process here. Okay, first thing to do, I just J-hook them in here. The leads on this aren't long enough. These I bought a whole bunch of them here. I got these, real nice deal, like 5 cents a piece. But the catch is they've got such short leads on them. They're made for mounting in circuit boards. But they're Panasonic branded caps, so they're real good quality. And they're 630 volt 005, so they're just perfect for what's in here. Okay, my solder, this is 60 lead, 40 tin, no, 60 tin, 40 lead. Rosin core. The size doesn't matter. This is 0.8 millimeter diameter. I forgot to turn my iron on. So I'll have to wait for that to warm up. Okay, this thing ought to be hot enough by now. Yes, go ahead and tin the leads on them. Add solder to the leads on here. It's called tinning the lead, and it just makes it a lot easier to solder. Go ahead and do these as well. normally I would J-hook these in, meaning put a little hook on there and a little hook on here and slide them together, make a good mechanical connection. But the leads are so short on these caps that I can't do that. But there's really no force on this, so the solder will be plenty strong enough to hold this, and it ain't going to go nowhere. Okay, next one, go for this guy down here. It goes to that point right there, which is grounded. Alright, it's 0005, 1000 volt. Let's see what I've got here. 0047, 1200 volt. Okay, that'll work. That's just what we want. Nice, pretty blue capacitor. Okay, I gotta figure out how to. Oh boy. Okay, that resistor just broke. It's black. It looks like it was heat baked. So. Okay. And then this can go in there. Bend this lead. Hook those together and hook this one together. And there we go. I wouldn't even have to solder that. Ha ha ha. Need a hot enough iron to do this as well. This is an old Weller. Probably about a 50 watt, 60 watt iron here, which is what you want for this old hand wired point to point stuff. When I get on there and make your connection and get off it, or else you'll overheat stuff. Alright, that looks good right as is, right there. Do this one next. If I can get to it. 01 400 volt. Alright, there's no one at 630 volt. That'll work. You can always go up in voltage, but never go down. And as far as the value, if you've got the exact value, obviously that's what you want to use, but if you don't, you can normally go up about 20%. But like I mentioned earlier, the tolerances in this are so wide. This is an 01. I could probably stick an 05, maybe a 0.1 in there, and you wouldn't ever tell a difference. Okay, I'll go in just like that. And a little bit shorter. Do it about right there. Yeah, that'll work. I'm going to go ahead and solder that top one first. And there we go. Okay, there's that resistor. I'll have to remember to replace that later. But that's no problem. Okay, it's another 01 at 400. See what I got here. All right, here's something you don't see every day. A box of 500 capacitors. I mean, there's a lot here. Tear off a strip. I buy these in bulk because I know I'll use them all eventually. And you can get some really good prices doing that. I mean, that's 500 capacitors. It was like $40. So I don't know what that rings out to, but it's like a couple cents a piece. If that. Okay, this one. Where did it go? Right here. And this one. All right. I wish this thing would stand up. There, that's a lot better. Little too much. Go ahead and solder that. All right, that one's good. Now, something else I meant to address earlier. You're probably wondering where the video you were promised is. See, that's an 05. At the end of the mech video, which is the last radio video I did, we had a voting competition. See which radio got the popular vote, and then I would do that radio. Well, I didn't forget about it. I actually already did it. But somehow or another, my damn files got corrupted on the computer. And they're lost. So that was a waste. That's kind of a letdown because I did put an awful lot of work into it. But let's see how this video does. I have no idea what happened. No idea. So I'm not real motivated to do a video right now because I'm in kind of a bad mood that happened. But let's just see how it goes here. And obviously, if you're watching the video right now, it evidently made it on YouTube, and I was able to do it. So yeah, that's what happened to the Crosley. It was the white Bakelite Crosley that won. Okay, we got one more cap here, I think. Just that one. .05 at 400. Okay, let me look. Let me make sure that's not a safety or a across the line cap here. Oh, here it is. Okay, here's the switch. Wires going to it. I don't see the other wire coming out of the switch on the volume control, so I just wonder if it's connected to ground. Looks like it is. Okie dokie. It's a hot chassis radio. One side of this power cord, I can't remember which one, probably this one, connected right to the metal chassis. So if you were to take that knob off and touch that metal shaft, you would get a shock. So that means, let me look. Okay, I don't think it is. I don't think it's across the line. If this cap were across the line, it would be beneficial to put a what's called a safety cap in place of that. Of course, back in the day, they just used normal caps, but if that cap were to short, it is right between the two power lines, the hot and the neutral. So that would, it could potentially start a fire. Or if it's from line to ground and that shorted, you could have a shock hazard. But with this radio, you've got a shock hazard anyway. But yeah, always a good idea to check and make sure it's not across the line, because you should use a safety cap if it is. I'm going to go ahead and cut that cord off there because I'm going to replace it. I don't like this. I don't like it. Get that out of the way. They even tied a knot in it. I'll tell you what, whoever put this cord on here had an idea what they were doing. That's a rare thing. I've seen some pretty questionable repairs. Oh boy. Well, I thought they soldered it, but they didn't. They just wrapped it. Well, I spoke too soon. I guess. I don't know. It's a good idea to solder it. I don't like wrapping wires. Okay, that goes on there. And there we are. We can solder it. Alright, that did good. Now to put a cord on this, let's see what I've got here. Thought I had one up here. Okay, I'm going to clean this one up and use it. Because it's an older cord, it's real skinny. See how these compared, see how wide this one is, how skinny this one is. We're going to need that so that the cord will make clearance with the dial as it comes out the bottom of the radio, or else it'll rub. This one was rubbing. Okay, let me cut that off a little bit. Okay, and then we'll strip this. I did that one a little too long. Okay, now I'm going to use some flux, or soldering paste in this case. Because those old wires don't like to solder very well. And this will help them. A layer of corrosion on it, or oxidation or something. That one did pretty good. So that soldering paste, when it gets heated up by the iron, it turns corrosive, slightly corrosive. And it's just enough to eat that oxidation off that wire so it'll solder well. Okay, I'm going to pull this mess off of here. Alright, so the radio's been recapped. I got the new cord put on it, and I have our electrolytics replaced. There's only 2 of them. Now we're at the point now where we can test it and see that our work, what we did, was correct. Turn the volume control up. I'm going to plug it in here. Okay, you can see our bulb was lit. And now we wait for it to warm up. Okay, it's drawing about 30 watts, and I don't hear anything. I don't even feel a hum on the speaker like normal. Nothing. Okay, well, we did something wrong, evidently. Okay, a little trick to do is touch the center tap of the volume control, and you should get a hum, and we're getting nothing. So that pretty well divides the radio in half. This is the input to the audio amplifier stage. So I mean, we're getting nothing. It's out of the speaker, we're getting nothing at all. So the problem is in the amplifier stage. Let me turn that off. Well, I want to wiggle the tubes. Maybe we've got a loose connection here. Plug it back in. Troubleshooting. Okay, it's powered back up. Here's the output tube. Nothing. Nothing on any of them. Okay, power that back down. I wonder, see, we should be getting at least a little amount of hum. I wonder if the speaker went open somehow, or the output transformer. I don't see how, but it is possible. Let's see here. Get the meter on it here. Okay, speaker. 5 ohms. Okay, that's not open. Now here's the output transformer, secondary, or primary, I mean. 0.5, 0.4, that's good. Okay. Here's the secondary. 38, that's good. So what's going on here? Let me solder this back on before I forget about it. Well, let me try a new output tube. 35L6, that's a pretty common tube. Let me grab one. Here's a 25L6, 50L6, 50, 25, and what was this? We need a 35, 50. Oh, good grief, another 50. 50, well, you know what, a 50 will work. To test the radio, a 50L6 will work. In fact, some people even do that because our line voltage today is a little higher than what it was back in the early 40s. So that 25 volt difference is actually good for the radio. Okay, we're letting it warm back up. Okay, it's up to 28 watts. And we're still getting it nothing at all. Nothing at all. Okay, we could check plate voltage. Just from looking at it, I don't know. Well, it'll be the one the output transformer goes to. Which is right there. 134. Okay, well, we got plate voltage. So what in the world is wrong with this? I guess let's check all of our connections and make sure we didn't screw up. Okay, they're all tight. Make sure nothing's shorting out. The radio worked before, somewhat, so I know. Oh, damn it. That resistor. I forgot about that. I told you guys to remind me about that. Well, let's see, it goes from the 12SQ7. Okay, that's probably the first audio. Goes from that to the output tube. So yes, that resistor could be causing this problem. What is that resistor? It's so burnt, I can't even tell the colors. It looks like red. Red something. Okay, let me look up the schematic real quick and see what that's supposed to be. Okay, I went and looked up, see what value resistor that was. It's in the Writers Volume 14, and it says it's a 250 ohm resistor. Let's see what I've got. Here's plenty of them in here. 220 or 330. Well, 220 is closer, so that'll work. It looks like it's been pretty hot before. In fact, it's cracked. It's cracked, and I barely even touched it, and it broke right in half. The other piece of resistor went right in my shoe. Okay, bend a little hook on it, just like our capacitors here. Okay, and there we are. Now, let's shake out all the cut leads in there so we don't cause them shorts. Okay, now let's try it. Okay, there's full voltage. Volume control's cranked. Okay, I can hear it. Here it comes. That's interesting. Doesn't like that capacitor in there. How weird. How weird. Okay, that was called feedback. And it changed when I moved this around, so I suspect it doesn't like the location of it. And I was trying to move it here, but I couldn't with the radio plugged in. Let me see here. I don't know. Seems like when I bent it over this way, it kind of stopped. Try it again here. I can tell the volume control needs cleaned as well, badly. How weird. Okay, let me... I don't know. I'll tack this on here real quick and we'll see if it changes. It's kind of a trick I've done. Okay, I've been screwing around here. See, right now I've got two in series. That will have the value of these. They're two 001s. So with these in series, it's a 0005. And it's the same thing. It's not the value of them. I think it's the position of them. It doesn't like them right there. See, watch when I do this. It stops. It's just sensitive about the position of it. So let me play around with this and see if I can find a spot that it won't do that. It must be a very sensitive cap. Okay, here's what I've come up with. I moved this resistor up and I changed the capacitor and I made this lead really long. Put the cap back here and there it's grounded. And it's not doing it anymore. The tuner is dirty. That's what that scratching is. But I can hear stations. They're very quiet. I'm putting my hand on the antenna. Okay, let's flip it over. I'll show you how to clean that tuner. Probably a combination of the cigarette glaze and the dust and maybe corrosion. You've got a wiper right here in the middle. And it wipes on that shaft. And I can tell by looking at it, it's dirty. So, cleaner. Spray it right on that middle part. Maybe. Both sides. And then work it back and forth. Go ahead and spray the back too, the front. Normally this cleans them. Every once in a while I'll find one that's a little stubborn. I'll have to take a little X-Acto knife and scrape that clean. Okay, let's power it back up and try it. Golly, normally radios aren't this stubborn, but this one proving to be a little bit of a challenge. Not really a challenge, but it's not a cakewalk, I'll say that. Okay, so after cleaning this, we don't hear any more of that scratchiness. Maybe a little bit. Actually, I think those are stations. Okay, we're not getting a whole lot. The volume control is cranked all the way up.
For quite some time.
Okay, the next thing, I'm just going to tweak on the alignment here. This is kind of a no-no, but it's a All-American 5 radio, I mean. It's fine. Okay, that's the antenna trimmer.
I don't know if Willie Cosper played with him before, but they were teaming. I don't know if they were teaming.
Okay, and the next, well, let's see. Here's the this is the oscillator. Well, no, we're not going to mess with that yet. Now the next thing, we've got 2IF and the other one down here. I'm going to, whoa, okay, that's live. Okay, I've got a little shrink tubing on this. This is what I use this for. Occasionally you'll find one of these. The screw inside has B+ on it. And of course the metal can, the chassis is B-. So occasionally you'll come across one of these. Okay, yes, that was off. I hear the Big Bopper coming in. Probably copyrighted.
Free shipping on most orders over $35.
Yes, the alignment was off, way off. I think this damn volume control is bad.
The National League here in 2020. 2 on with you look at me like this, and yesterday we did a double tap. That's the responsibility. But, for a lot of people, it's, it's not necessarily that balanced.
Hour of WCBS News and Podcasts right on your smartphone. It's 10.
Business or anything like that. Castellanos was signed by the Reds to a 4-year contract through 2023, back on January 27th. Last year, the sun lost him. Right-hander facing right-hander, the fourth pitcher of the... Years to get out of that, call Consolidated Credit now.
Un jeune mec de 18 ans, il peut se produire, monter sa boîte et être son propre producteur et tout de suite gagner 60.
Okay, it works. The alignment was way off. Okay, now to clean the volume control. It looks like it's a sealed control. Yes, I'd say it is. Well, I'll show you how we clean it. Well, there's a couple of different ways. This actually looks like the volume control is trapped in here because it's, well, no. Okay, there's a slot right here. We slide it out. But it looks like we'd have to remove this oscillator coil to do that. That's not going to happen. The easier way to do it, take your Dremel, get the smallest little drill you can, And we're going to bore a hole right up here, right in that front part, because that's where the wiper is. That has the resistive element that the audio is on that is dirty, evidently. The back part is just the switch. So we're going to drill it about right here, right in the middle of that front piece of Bakelite there. And we're going to be careful not to go in too deep. Like when the hole punches through, you got to hold on to the Dremel. If it plunges in there, you know, you could really damage something. So let me bore a hole in this. Just that easy. Okay, now fill it full of cleaner. Oh yes, it got a lot looser. Okay. Power it back up and see if that did it. See, even though they're sealed, it's a sealed control. Evidently, somehow or another, some dirt got in there. Oh yes. No scratchiness, no nothing at all.
The leg kick and the pitch. Fastball away, 2-2. Fresh cup of coffee, a button. Top floor of an office building, just a simple click. Everyday buttons make our lives. Which would be a bad scenario, and if things go well, then this is inside ball 4. The Cubs get the leadoff man on. That pitch didn't miss by much.
Okay, so that gets the chassis working. The next thing to do, we'll probably clean the tubes off. They got a good layer of dust on them. And then we can start working on that cabinet. The first thing to do, oh boy, someone ruined that. That's where the screw goes into, Bakelite there. Whenever you got a screw that goes into Bakelite, do not over tighten it, or that will happen. I learned that the hard way many times. But this will take it in and get it nice and clean. It's got like a cigarette glaze on it. Oh, God, that smells. It's all over my hands. This is disgusting. Okay, but we need to clean this off really good. And then I'll probably paint it. Because originally, the bottom, right in here, was a gold color. And of course all this was this ivory off-white color. But I guess that just got worn off. But yeah, originally these were gold. The bases were gold on them. So yes, we'll take that, clean them, and then we'll have to tape that off. Okay, so here is the dial. I took it down the basement, cleaned it really good, got all the cigarette crud off of it, and I painted in. See, the numbers here are indented into the plastic, so I wiped some red paint in there, and that looks pretty good. Now, to get the smearing off, I've got some plastic polish here. And we're going to go and just polish that right off. And the red paint stays down in the numbers, but the plastic polish takes off the smearing that's on the top. I know it would have been easier to wipe this off while the paint was still wet, but I was not able to. So this will work. And we'll just have to go around and do all of it. Boy, that thing looks brand new now. Looks like it's brand new. Okay, the next thing. Let's see. I got the pieces painted. And here they are. The base color isn't as dark as I would like it to be, but it's going to have to do. It looks decent. I'm okay with it. But the originals was just a little bit darker, kind of a more orangish color. Okay. Now the chassis, I polished this up. This is the original socket. I know it looks like it's a brand new one, but I promise you that's the old original socket. What else? I think I changed the tube. And that capacitor I was having trouble with. No matter where I put it, it was causing oscillation and feedback. So I just ended up taking it out of there. I mean, it's not even in the circuit, and the radio works 3 times as good as it did. So it has no tendency to oscillate now. That capacitor was on the plate, going from plate to ground of the SQ7. So I'm thinking it was just for tone. The radio evidently doesn't need it, because it works really, really well without it. So that's all I've done with the chassis. That works good. Okay. Let's see, we can start reassembly now. This went in like that. Whoop. Okay, that looks pretty good. Oh, I got a cat crawling up my leg here. Say hi to everyone. All right, the screws. These ones right here. Not too tight, because you will crack that Bakelite quicker than you'll even... You'll crack the Bakelite quick. Alright, now, since we forgot that cast iron piece, now we can put this on. This has to go in here. What I'm hitting on. Oh, I see. Okay. Now we can put the dial on. Okay, and we've got a flat spot. It corresponds to a flat spot on here. That's how we align it. Get that out of the way. Whoop, forgot about that screw. Whoop, I didn't mean to bump you. Okay, that takes care of it. Then we've got that. It goes in the center. And that'll do it. Okay, the knob. Let me see if I've got it in my pocket. No, I don't. Let me go grab that knob. I took it down to the basement to clean it, and I think I forgot it there. Okay, I got the knob. Got that all cleaned up nice. Okay, let's plug it in, make sure it works. Guess we can put the shade on too. That shade cleaned up nice. Turned about 3 shades whiter. Boy, that's cool. Okay, let's see how many stations we can pick up.
It's gone. On strikes for the 3rd time tonight. He's 0 for 4. we're doing really well, but my condolences. I talked to text me and Trey. You said the same agent, but we text back and forth. Just if I need anything, he did.
You can see the dial glows from that bulb that's down there. That's a neat touch.
That hopefully will make it.
Number of solar panels you can make. What's the big?
Here's the pitch.
Of course, it's nighttime now, so all the stations are kind of running together, but hey, that looks pretty darn good. Kitty Cat agrees. Well, that's all there is to it. I think I put some felt pads on it for the feet. And that's about it, to be honest with you. This radio's for my collection. I'm not getting rid of it. I've been looking for one of these forever. I actually bought one a couple years ago. I found it listed on eBay for 50 bucks. I bought it. 50 bucks is still a pretty decent deal for one of these. They're rather hard to find. I sent the guy several messages before he even shipped it, telling him how fragile the Bakelite was, make sure it's packed good. I even offered to pay him extra to make sure it was packed good. But he said he would pack it good. Well, a couple days later, it came in the mail in about 15 different pieces, so that really peed me off. I did get a full refund. I sent it back to him, but that was a real letdown. But now I finally have one with the original shade. The one I bought didn't even have the original shade. Someone had changed the socket with a harp on it to put a modern shade on it, but yeah, there we go. That's a really good working lamp radio. You can see how that dial turns. Nice red numbers. That really pops. Okay, the paint turned out good. Normally whenever I go to paint something, all the flies come and land in it. But this one, I didn't have any setbacks, any flaws in it. It turned out pretty darn good. Here's the socket, nice and shiny. I lacquered it to protect it. And yeah, I know the shade is cracked, but we're lucky enough to have the original one anyway. I just turn that towards the back, you won't even see it. Okay, there it is. That's, boy, it's come a long way. The thing looks brand new now. Alrighty, that's how we do it. Thanks for watching.